दोस्तों, पिछले कुछ सालों से हमने अपने साबिका सुदूर को एजाज करने की रीत डाली है। इसी रीत को बरकरार रखते हुए हम इस साल हमारे साबिका सदर जनाब शमसुद्दीन शम्स साहब को मेमेंटो पेश करेंगे। इनके बारे में कुछ कहकर मैं अपनी नाअहली का सबूत आप लोगों के सामने नहीं देना चाहता हूँ। इसीलिए मैं आई नाउ इनवाइट मिस्टर शमसुद्दीन शम्स ऑन स्टेज टू कलेक्ट हिज मेमेंटो फ्रॉम द चीफ गेस्ट। नींद कर देंगे हराम तेरी, नींद कर देंगे हराम तेरी, तूने सोतों को क्यों जगाया है। ये शेर हमारे एक बहुत ही सीनियर एलिगेरियन का है, जो पेशे से तो एक मेडिकल डॉक्टर हैं, बट ही इज ए ग्रेट राइटर and has about 12 books to his credit. He has won many awards in the region and in India, including the Sahitya Academy Award. He is giving about from last 30 years, he is serving Urdu language in this part of the world. I can say he is an ambassador of Urdu here. His recent book, Truth on Terrorism, is very, very popular in Saudi Arabia. Amuba Riyadh is proud to honor this great son of soil, Dr. Harif Tarim. May I now request Mr. Harif Tarim to come on stage. कहते हैं कि जो लोग अपने मोहसिनों का शुक्रिया अदा नहीं करते वो अल्लाह के नाशुक्रे होते हैं। This year, Amuba Riyadh has decided to felicitate non-Algerians for their selfless association and services to Amuba. इस साल के मुस्तहक एक ऐसी बुजुर्ग शख्सियत हैं जिन्होंने पिछले 20-25 साल से मुसलसल अमूबा रियाद के साथ बेलौस शाना बशाना साथ रहे। आप सब लोगों की भरपूर थालियों में मैं जनाब मसरत जाफरी साहब से गुजारिश करता हूं कि वो स्टेज पर तशरीफ लाएं। जनाब मसरत जाफरी साहब। As you are aware, on SS Day every year, we release our annual magazine, We the Aligs. This also serves as a directory of Algerians living in and around Riyadh. And it is synchronized with our global directory, www.amudirectory.com. May I now request the honorable guest on dais to officially release our annual magazine. The directory preparatory team is under the leadership of Engineer Sohail Ahmad, and consists of Arsalan Ahmad, Mr. Naseem Akhtar, and Taqiyuddin, who will assist in releasing this. Engineer Sohail Ahmad, please. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the directory team for their efforts in putting up this great magazine. Ladies and gentlemen, our chief guest this evening is a person of varied interests. Born on Independence Day 1948, he had his early education in Madrasa, followed by St. Joseph's College in Nainital. Lieutenant General Zamiruddin Shah has an incredible experience in education, judiciary and diplomacy. He graduated from Defense Services Staff College and has held many posts. If I start speaking about him, the night will continue until morning. But that is not a reason nothing to say about him. He was instructor at Officers Training Academy, Chennai. He served at Army War College, Mao. He was the chairman of Board of Governors, Sainik School, Purulia, West Bengal. He is the chairman of Management Committee of Army Institute of Management, Kolkata. He is the president and executive council of Center for Land Warfare Studies, Delhi. His earliest commissioning was on 9 June 1968 into 185 Light Regiment. He participated in the 1971 operations at Longowala. He has participated in counter-insurgency operations in northeast India and Punjab. The general officer commanded an infantry division of a strike corps, which was later instrumental in quelling the riots of Gujarat in 2002. He was responsible, or is still responsible, for modernization of the army and management and control of army budget. He subsequently retired from there after more than 40 years of service. He has many honors to his credit, among which is the Param Vishisht Sena Medal, and the Vishisht Sena Medal for Distinguished Service. The general was elevated to Armed Forces Tribunal Principal Bench in New Delhi in June. This appointment has the status of a High Court judge. He resigned from Armed Forces Tribunal to assume the appointment of Vice Chancellor of Aligarh Muslim University. His diplomatic experiences include a diplomatic assignment as defense attaché in Saudi Arabia from 1994 to 1997. He is a widely traveled person all around the globe. Not only this, apart from all the above, he is a keen sportsman, a rider, and an avid golfer. Along with this, you will be surprised he is a wildlife enthusiast. मैं हमारे वाइस चांसलर साहब के हौसलों और अज़्म को सलाम करते हुए ये कहूँगा, फिजा तेरी माँ और परवीन से है जरा आगे, फिजा तेरी माँ और परवीन से है जरा आगे, कदम उठा ये मुकाम आसमां से दूर नहीं. May I now humbly request the chief guest of this evening, Vice Chancellor of AMU, Lieutenant General Muhammad Zamiruddin Shah, to address this gathering.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम. जनाब हबीब खान साहब, बादशाह साहब, and fellow colleagues, thank you for this very great honor. I choose to speak in English. हालांकि मेरी मादरी ज़बान तो उर्दू है, मगर मैं अंग्रेजी में बात करूंगा. क्योंकि I want to show the importance to our students that you cannot do without English in the present age. And one of the problem areas which our students face is their inability to articulate and their inability to speak in the modern language. So when placement teams come to Aligarh Muslim University, our students are very, very badly handicapped. We are going to correct this, inshallah. Our students will be able to converse, will be able to speak, and they will have bags of confidence. They will be adept both in Urdu and English. About Urdu, let me just tell you that we have made it compulsory for all students. This had been under consideration for almost 50 years till we took the decision and made it compulsory, because we found that students were not taking adequate interest and we could not allow this wonderful language of ours to fade away. Aligarh Muslim University does not produce mere graduates. It produces elites. These are graduates with culture, breeding, and with tehzeeb. Before I get on to my presentation, I would like to show you some slides which will bring back very happy memories of your alma mater. Okay, it is the cradle of modern education and secularism. Okay, this is how I'll go through my presentation. We cannot but honor this great founder of ours, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. Next. We are very, very proud of the fact that the name of Aligarh Muslim University is enshrined in the Constitution of India as one of the 3 universities of national importance. We've had several Nobel laureates and people of great importance who have visited the university. Of course, we've had a string of royalty, presidents, prime ministers, and people of renown who have kept AMU on their itinerary. Besides foreign visitors, most presidents and prime ministers of India have visited the university. We have a whole lot of notable alumni. We have produced heads of state of 4 different countries. I think this is the only university which has this great honor. Do I see somebody in the last row? The name looks familiar. You name it. We've got scholars, artists, actors, the whole gamut of great alumni. Some glimpses of AMU. Let me just tell you that at the moment, the university consists of 19 halls of residence, but the problem area, which I will come to later, is the overcrowding. We cater for the education of students right from kindergarten up to PhD, and at the moment we are looking after 9 schools in the university. We have 12 faculties and 100 departments. These are the colleges and institutes of the university. We are concentrating on research, and these are some of the few research centers. A great deal of our effort is in increasing collaboration so that our students and their teachers learn from universities abroad, and in turn, teachers and students from abroad too have a great deal to learn from our university. A view of Maulana Azad Library. Games and sports I'll deal with later, but let me tell you that after 39 years, Aligarh Muslim University won the Inter-University Tennis Tournament. Just before I left Aligarh, we had won the North Zone Hockey Tournament. And our girls this year won the North Zone Badminton Tournament. The days of alumni of AMU students representing the country has again come about, and Sara Naqvi, a student from the Women's College, is in the badminton national team. We have produced icons of sports, great icons, and we've been honoring them. Extracurricular activities, as I said, we are producing elites. So all these activities are very, very important co-curricular activities. Foreign visitors cannot but resist visiting our university because of the great name it has across the world. There's the Tibia College, College of Engineering, Students' Union Hall, Aftab Hall. Okay, please flash this. Ladies and gentlemen, before I came, and if you had a chance to look at the website, we've issued out the vision statement for 2020. Why 2020? As you are aware, we'll be completing our centenary, or we'll be celebrating our centenary. We would have finished 100 years. Vision 2020 says that Aligarh Muslim University, inshallah, will be the best university in the country by 2017. And will be among the best 200 universities of the world by 2020. One of our very, very important goals is restoration of the minority character of the university. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, before I tell you what we are trying to do to fulfill or to implement Vision 2020, you should be aware of the problems we are facing. Those are very, very important. You have got to understand that there are myriad problems, but inshallah we shall overcome them. They are not insurmountable. The first, of course, is funding. Now the central government does fund the university, but that fund is just adequate to keep our heads above the water. Let me tell you that the non-planned grant of the university is 25 crores for a planned period. But that is just adequate because the electricity bill itself for 5 years of AMU is 25 crores. So it is nothing to clap about. But when I tell you what we are going to do about it, probably it will deserve some claps. So the non-planned grant of the university is consumed by paying the electricity bill. So how do we progress? How do we implement the measures which will propel us to the #1 spot? In days of yore, the Crown paid for most of the expenses of the university, but we were liberally funded by the royalty, the Nizam of Hyderabad, the Begum of Bhopal, and the Aga Khan, and a whole Raja Mahendra Pratap. All of them liberally funded the university. Those days of funding by the royalty are over. And what we hope and pray is that our alumni will not hold back. We demand 3 T's from you: your time, your talent, and your treasures. The treasures, let me tell you, you owe to the education you received at your alma mater. So funding is inadequate. It is also wrongly believed and widely circulated that crores of rupees of unexpended planned funds are returned back to the government. There is some truth in that. But let me explain what is this money which is surrendered back to the government. The university is authorized approximately 2,000 teachers, but we are holding only 1,400. We are 600 short. What the government does is pays us the amount for the complete 2,000 teachers. Since we are short by 500, the pay and allowances of these teachers has to be refunded back because it cannot be diverted for any other purpose. So that is the position of funds being returned back to the government. Let me tell you that not a paisa of the non-planned grant is refunded back. We are utilizing every paisa and crying out for many, many more, hundreds of crores of rupees. The next problem is hostel accommodation. Hostel accommodation, which was meant for 6,000 students, is now occupied by 15,000. It is a veritable slum. There is not even place for our students to keep their writing tables or their cupboards. The halls of residence have nothing but beds and charpais. We need to correct that immediately. During the last convocation, we had invited Shrimati Sonia Gandhi to be the chief guest at the convocation. Unfortunately, because of bad weather, she could not come. But we did, for the first time, receive a special grant of 150 crores from the government. This money we will immediately put into construction of new halls of residence for our students. What we have planned is immediately within the next 2 years, construct a hall of residence within the campus for 1,500 girls. This will enable us to bring in all our girls scattered all over the city into the safe environments of Aligarh Muslim University. We will also construct a hall of residence for 1,000 boys. This will, to some extent, sort out the problem of overcrowding. We are not forgetting our NRIs. And one of the halls of residence, the Sultan Jahan, which is outside the campus, once it is vacated, will be upgraded, it will be rebuilt, and we will add on some more stories, and that will cater for about 500 to 600 foreign students and children of alumni who are NRIs. So that is a problem which has been troubling you all for a long period, but inshallah it will be taken care of within a period of about 2 years. The next problem is the decay of our historical Qadimi buildings jo hain. These buildings are a century old. They badly need repairs. We made an estimate that to renovate and restore Sir Syed Hall would require about 106 crores. We have projected this whole thing to the Aga Khan Foundation. I have had the occasion of meeting the Aga Khan and stressing the point that his grandfather was a great beneficiary of Aligarh Muslim University. He has promised to look into the problem, but the Aga Khan Foundation is a bureaucratic organization, and I do not expect the funds to come so easily. We will keep trying. The immediate requirement is to repair the roofs of all our historical buildings. Stretchy Hall is the main one. For that, we will require approximately 6 crores. If we don't do it, then Khuda na khasta, these roofs are likely to cave in. They require our immediate attention, and we will do that very soon. About the deficiency of teachers, I have already told you we are deficient. We have been depending on guest faculty. In some of the departments, general selection committees have not been held for as long as 15 years. I do not know why this has happened, but inshallah we are going to correct this. And by mid-January, the process of general selection committees will start, and within about 6 months, we hope to complete or fill up all the deficiencies of teachers. One of the problems which was so apparent to me after my visit to the United States and going to the leading universities of that country, is that we are still on the chalk and blackboard stage. We need to have immediately smart classrooms so that our children get the best. We have made a bid immediately to the American alumni for 100 smart classrooms. We did get assurances for a large number. 100 are a little, it'll take a little longer, but I am not holding back. Whatever help we get from America, we will use it. But what we've allocated is 2 crores to upgrade our smart classroom, to upgrade our classrooms into smart ones. The Jawaharlal Nehru Medical College, it caters for thousands of patients every day. It is badly overcrowded, it is dirty, it is inadequately staffed. We, after a lot of efforts, have managed to convince the government that the grant of 2.1 crores per year for Jawaharlal Nehru Medical College was grossly inadequate. We've got it increased last year to 10.5 crores. That means a hike of 5 times. But even 10.5 crores is not adequate for us to provide proper medical assistance to citizens of Western UP, primarily Muslim. We are examining whether this medical college should go under the Ministry of Health, because if it does, then we will probably get 100 crores per year. But we have to tread with caution. We have learned that anything which you place outside the bounds of the Ministry of Human Resource Development, just like Banaras Hindu University did to the engineering college, and they are regretting it now. It has been upgraded into an IIT, but the university has lost total control of its engineering college, which is now an IIT. The same offer was made, but we desisted from accepting it, basically because we do not want to lose control over the selection of the teachers and selection of the students. We want to keep the balance right. So one of our directions to the committee, which is examining whether we should allow the Ministry of Health to take control over the medical college, is that there should be no dilution of control of the Vice Chancellor over the medical college. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot afford to lose control over our medical college, and inshallah we will ensure that. A word about the schools. There are 9 schools which we are running. They are our feeder institutions. Unfortunately, these schools are badly run down. We have been negotiating with the government, and they have accepted that all our schools, inshallah, will in a period of time be upgraded to Kendriya Vidyalaya standards. This year, the Union School, which was the weakest of the lot, will be upgraded to KB standards. Now this has meant a hike of almost 5 times in the salaries of the teachers, and we hope that they will put in 5 times the amount of work which they were putting in earlier, and give our students the very best education which public schools of the country are giving to their students. It is a tall order, but we are aiming for that. The last problem which the university is facing is regionalism, ilaka parasti. There are regional camps. We are trying to get rid of these. My team and I are not members of any of the regional groups. We are above politics and we are above regionalism. I was born in Bahraich. I studied in northern Uttar Pradesh. My hometown is Meerut, but I served all over the country and all over the world. So regionalism is taboo for me. I only belong to one team, and that is Team Aligarh Muslim University. What are we doing about the problems I've just enunciated? We are doing a lot, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just spell out a few. The first was the window to the world. That is the Aligarh Muslim University website. I hope all of you have accessed or have gone into the website. You will find that it is comparable to the best universities of the world. It was done entirely by our Faculty of Computer Science and our computer graduates. We did not have to spend a single paisa on upgrading our website, but it is very, very important. Anybody who wants to know about Aligarh Muslim University first goes to the website, and it was in terrible shape. 6 months after I had taken over the university, it was showing the last Vice Chancellor as the VC of AMU. So I decided it was time to upgrade it, and we have. The next problem was our shabby guest houses. And this was brought home to me by the leader of an Iraqi delegation which was visiting the university. The first thing when I met him in the morning and I asked him how he was, is he complained that he had been bitten by bed bugs and mosquitoes and there was no television in his room. He could not have hot water to have a bath because there was no geyser. So we've spent a lot of money and we've upgraded all our guest houses. They are almost at par with military messes. So when you visit Aligarh Muslim University next, you'll be pleasantly surprised. You will be comfortable, I assure you. We have small museums. I would say they are empires of various departments. They were run down. We are creating one central museum in Aligarh Muslim University, which will be housed in Kennedy Hall. Also, we have got Kennedy Hall vacated by a whole lot of departments which had crept in and encroached upon the cultural activities of the university. So Kennedy Hall is now going to be devoted only to encouraging the arts, drama and other things. All these activities will be given a lot of priority. Kennedy Hall will be used for the purpose for which it was meant. The roads of Aligarh Muslim University were potholed and cratered. I know a lot of you are still complaining that the roads have taken almost a year to be done up, but inshallah, the deadline is 9th of December. There will be no potholes either in the roads or in the minds of our students. They'll also be leveled out. Our syllabi in all the departments does not cater for the needs of industry. We are examining, we've detailed a team which is examining the syllabi of every department. We will upgrade these to cater for the needs of industry. There is no need why a student from the arts faculty, for example, the syllabi will not cater for him to prepare him for the exams for the IAS, for the IPS and the IFS and for the needs of industry. So the syllabi will be so remolded and upgraded that all these shortfalls are overcome. It is a saying in the army that an army marches on its stomach. And one of the crying needs of the university was to give good, nourishing food to our students. We have modernized all the kitchens. We have spent almost 1 crore on steam cooking systems, on Bain Mary's food warmers, and it may be of interest to you that Dunlop is now history. We have installed 19 chapati makers, but to remind students of Sir Syed days, Dunlop will be served on Fridays. We are trying, or what we are trying to do is, the munshis and others have just been eliminated from the purchases for the dining halls. We are doing all central procurement by one body. So this leads to economy of scale. We've convinced the government to establish a Kendriya Bhandar in the university. We've given them an old building. So all the rations are procured centrally from Kendriya Bhandar. They may be of the same price as the open market, but the quality is 10 times better. Ours, we are very, very proud, is the second university with an hockey AstroTurf. We are very, very proud that our university is the only university in the country with a riding club. And inshallah, it will be the first university with a golf course. It is not because the Vice Chancellor is a golf addict. That is part of the reasons, but what we want to do, we want to create a brand name for our university, so that when our students are faced with an interview, see, nobody asks students what division they got. They ask, where did you study? And if the brand name is, like for example, St. Stephen's College, the brand name, inshallah, is going to be Aligarh Muslim University. And the student is going to be asked, what are your hobbies? What have you played? If he says, I played gulli danda, he's not going to get the job. But if he says, I rode horses, I played tennis, and I played golf, let me tell you, the job will be assured. So that's what we are trying to do for our students. We are 50 years behind time. Sir Syed had visited Oxford and Cambridge to see what those universities were about. I am following the path of Sir Syed. I went to America to see what we could do to upgrade our university. So smart classrooms, the labs, all these are on the agenda. We have also, what we need to do is give exposure to our students to universities abroad. I mean, they are Kuwait and Medak of Aligarh. They need to get out, go and see what education is like in the premier universities of the world. We have signed many, many MOUs. These will give a chance to our students to go and study abroad with minimal expenditure. Why minimal? What we've decided is that we will take care of the traveling expense only. The host university will take care of the food, the lodging, the education of our students. In turn, we promise to do the same for students who come from foreign universities to AMU. So this will be a very, very affordable measure. Our students will be able to see what modern universities are like at minimal cost. The teachers also are going to be invited. Our teachers badly need exposure outside Aligarh. We need to have placement teams visiting AMU. And ladies and gentlemen, I am very, very proud to tell you that at the moment we have forced every department in the university to open a placement cell. There were none earlier, except for the engineering and medical college. Now every department, that means there are 100 placement teams in the university. This has led to hundreds of campus placements by leading captains of industry have come, leading firms have come to AMU, and there have been a large number of placements. A word about Aligarh Muslim University centers. Now this is a topic which has invited a lot of debate, a lot of criticism. Sir Syed did not want Aligarh Muslim University to be the seat of education only for Western UP or for Aligarh. He wanted it to be an education center for the whole of the country. Now, I inherited two of the centers, and recently the President of India directed me to open up the center at Kishanganj in Bihar. Now, controlling these centers is a difficult task. And we realized that if they remain only centers, it would probably take 100 years for them to become full-fledged universities like AMU, which ultimately is our aim. Fortunately, I was inducted into a team of vice-chancellors who were examining how the center could create 6 new universities in minority areas. And we were told that the aim is to establish them by 2014. Well, I frankly told the Minister of Minority Affairs, I said, sir, you are being too ambitious. You will not be even able to acquire the land. What are you talking about establishing 6 central universities in minority areas? But I gave him a way to establish at least 3. I said, take our centers, upgrade them into universities, and they will serve the cause of minority education. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, these are not going to be minority universities. They are going to be called central universities funded by the Maulana Azad Foundation. And they will cater for the education of minorities according to the ratio of population. Now the Muslim ratio is 86% of the minorities. So that is what we hope will be the demographic character of these central universities. We were given a demand that the name of AMU must be retained. So what we hope to call these universities is Central University Kishanganj, in brackets, Aligarh Muslim University. So the legacy of Aligarh Muslim University will remain with these independent 3 universities, hopefully, and another 3 subsequently. Our research needs to cater for industry. We need a second revolution in agriculture. Our research was not leading to very much. There were no inventions. We need to be responsive. There's no reason why Aligarh Muslim University cannot spearhead the next green revolution. There's no reason why our JNMC cannot spearhead the next medical revolution in the field of Alzheimer's, in the field of cancer. Our nanotechnology, which we are very, very proud of. We are the leaders in the field in the country. A lot of American universities are signing MOUs with us because of our lead in this field. So we are devoting a lot of time to research to cater for the alumni. We have created the Committee of Alumni Affairs. So you need not wonder who you can contact. The AMU Alumni Affairs will be reaching out to you. You don't have to reach to them. That is a promise which we make. Let me also tell you that in case you want to create an endowment, in case you want to give a grant to your alma mater, you just have to visit the website. There you will find the details of the bank account which has got clearances from everybody, and you can do it effortlessly. The NRI hostel, I've already told you, inshallah, it'll be ready. I know that your children are used to a better standard of living. But yesterday, in my interaction at Jeddah, one of our students who has just finished her engineering came up to me and said, "Sir, don't make this an NRI hostel." She says, "I lived in a normal hostel. I interacted, it gave me a chance to interact. But I don't know if the bulk of you will agree with that, with those sentiments." But those were her sentiments. Anyway, if you want your child to live in the NRI hostel, we will give you that opportunity. You will have to pay a little more. If you want your child to stay in a normal hostel, we will allow that too. But we need a hostel for foreigners. We will have a large number of foreign students visiting AMU. We need to have at least air conditioning and a better environment. From next academic year, your problems of applications, your problem of payments by cash, by depositing will be over. All applications, all payments of fees will be online. Let me tell you a few things which we have on the cards and for which I need your help. We need an international size swimming pool. Our swimming pool is 100 years old, the indoor one. We will leave it, we will reserve it only for the girls. Our boys need an open air swimming pool which will cost approximately 5 crores. We need a squash court which will cost about 1 crore. We need new stables for our horses. We are getting horses from the army. We need 5 crores. We need a golf course. It won't cost very much. I have created 2 golf courses for the army. We will probably require about 2 crores for a 9-hole golf course. So ladies and gentlemen, I have put across some points, some problems, what we are doing for your alma mater. It is not mine. I joined the army when I was 15 and a half, and I would have studied in AMU because my grandfather, my father, my brother, and a whole lot of my family members, my father-in-law, not forgetting that, otherwise my wife will point it out, have also studied at Aligarh Muslim University. So I may not have studied there, but my heart belongs to AMU. Ladies and gentlemen, a revolution is underway at your alma mater. A renaissance is on the way, and I request you to join us in our quest to make AMU the #1 university. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chancellor. After hearing you, we are very much sure that your heart beats only and only for AMU now. Now the next thing on the agenda is presentation of memento to our guests. First,